Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Ultra Hardware number 43552. This is a storm door lever handle lock set. Okay. This is, of course, the exterior trim. I'm going to show you all the constituent parts, and then we'll go over the installation instructions. So you've got an exterior trim. That this trim is, the lever is like that because the spindle is not installed yet. That would be normal. Once the spindle is installed, it will keep it in the proper horizontal position. One thing I'd like to point out to you on this order, the installation instructions are very clear that if the hand of your door is, what we would call a right-hand reverse or a left-hand door, let's say, the lever is going to be like this, where it's pointed down. If you have a door of the opposite hand, your lever is going to be installed like this. Now, quite frankly, in residential applications, 99 times out of 100, that's really not an issue, and most of the time, it's not even considered as an issue, meaning it doesn't even register as something to be considered. To me, however, it is something that I want to point out because to me it's odd that the lever is not reversible or non-handed. Doesn't make any commentary on the caliber, quality, duty rating, or overall, product availability to solve, your need. It's certainly a very nice looking handle. I would like for there to be a way to reverse that, but they sell one hand of it and that's it. So, and that'll be pointed out on the installation instructions as well. So, the exterior pull, I'm going to get the tape measure and go over the dimensions now. The overall height of the escutcheon, 4 7/16. Overall width, 1 5/8. Overall projection, just over 2 inch, about 2 1/8. Then, give you an idea of what the lever length is. It's about 4 1/2 inch. Okay, so that's the exterior lever. Now, moving on to the inside, you're going to get the inside latch lever deadbolt, inside deadbolt assembly. This deadbolt is attached when it comes from the factory with one screw. It's attached down to the back plate. This deadbolt is operated by that thumb turn on the inside. Okay. We'll go over the balance of the operation in a moment. Should you need to reverse it, this side you can. You would remove this screw, simply turn this over 180 degrees, and insert it back. That's how it's reversed. That's real simple. This is a self-contained mechanism that we've got here. If you do wish to remove that and show the back side of the deadbolt. I've never removed one, but having read the instructions prior, obviously, when I've installed these in the past, I never had to reverse it, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that is indeed the case. That's a self-contained unit. No problem with that. You could be able to take that and just reverse it right back over. So it's like this from the factory with the bolt pointed towards you. I could simply reverse it, put that bolt back in the bottom, and we're in good shape, which I'll do, and I'll just leave it reversed. Very simple. This part is called the inside lever deadbolt assembly. The outside was the outside lever assembly. I should point out at this point that there is a link below this video to the installation instructions and to the template, which I have here on my desk and am referring to. You're going to have the latch now. Nice, heavy-duty, quality latch. Very firm spring tension inside of there. Gives you the illusion that it's of good quality in terms of the spring tension. However, it's really not an illusion. This is a very nice sort of unit that you're going to see on better quality doors, that's for sure. Okay. So your installation will end up looking something like that. Okay. There are a couple of shims that you may or may not need, and we're going to go over those in a moment with the installation instructions. Finally, there is the strike plate. Okay. This is just simply surface mounted. You're going to want to install it in that slotted hole first to position it properly. Know that it's correct, and then put your 2 permanent screws in. You know what? I'm sorry. Let's back up to the dimensions. The inside lever deadbolt assembly, about 5.5 overall. About 1 3/8. Projection of that deadbolt, about 7/8. Projection of the lever assembly, about 2 1/8. These dimensions aren't really necessary for most people, but there are clients who said, you know, it really helped me determine if about 3.5 inch, if I knew what the overall sizes were. Okay, now at this point I'm going to refer to the installation instructions and go through them step by step. So if you're not interested, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions on this Ultra item. We'd be happy to take your order, etc. Installation instructions. Note, before installing the lock, check door to see that it operates freely. If the door is binding, correct it before proceeding. So if your storm door is a little out of plumb, fix that. Have the door operate properly before you start to install something, because what will happen is if you install the new lock onto a door that's ill-fitting to begin with, and when you later on go to correct the ill-fitting door, whether it's out of plumb or you replace a hinge or you have to shim something, your lock preparation will be out of proper positioning. So do that first. Note number 2, outside lever assembly can be mounted vertically at any desired location. However, please be certain that the inside latch assembly does not interfere with existing door hardware. So what they're saying is, absolutely confirm before you decide where you're going to drill holes for this, which we'll get to in a moment, that there's no hardware that any of this will be in the way of, or that is already in the way of where you would put this. You might have a grill on the face of the aluminum door. You might have some sort of trim molding that is holding in glass or a screen or jealousy type operator, whatever the case might be. There's too many models of storm doors to really determine all of that. A reality check is what we're saying. So drilling instructions. Close the door. Place the template at the desired height on the inside face of the door. So this template is very simple and straightforward. And the only real difference here is that if you've got an 1 1/4 inch thick door, this template you can actually bend over and apply right to the edge of the door with the tape that's on the back. And that will certainly work great. It's likely that you don't have an 1 1/4 inch thick door. So if you don't, you're going to place the perforated end here on the end of your door. The important part is that the back set of this is suitable for installation. So from the edge of the door to the center line is suitable. Okay? Very straightforward sort of installation. When you have your template on the door, mark the holes, use a center punch so that when you start drilling the door, your drill bit won't walk. And then, you know, you need to drill it exactly where the hole is. So use a center punch. Be careful when you use a center punch that you might have glass obviously in the door. Mark that hole so the drill bit doesn't walk a little bit like it will if you're drilling into aluminum or wood, steel, fiberglass, whatever the case might be. So place the template at desired height on the door, mark the location of all 3 holes. Well, that's... Back to that template for a moment. Regarding other thickness doors, you can cut this right in half, right down the A line, all the way down the middle, and you'll have 2 pieces. Provided that you've got that to the edge of the door, you're in real good shape at that point. Now, the template is quite frankly, it's confusing in the sense that there's lots of holes drilled there. So they say mark the location of all 3 holes in drilling instructions step 2. So what's happening here is the 3 holes that you're drilling for are going to be those holes that are going to be necessary to mate the exterior escutcheon, this hole, and the hole for the spindle, and here, and the hole for the spindle. So that will all work together like that. There is, as we talked about earlier, a missing screw for the deadbolt. What's happening with that is it's referred to later on, and we'll discuss that. So if you're trying to figure out which holes to drill, you're not going to be drilling all of these. There's only 3 on here that you'll need to drill, and you'll take note. You know, when you're doing an installation, you're always going to do a reality check. You can see how that all lines up there. And those are the holes that you're calling out. Okay, any questions on that, feel free to reach out to us. Drill all holes with a 5/16 diameter drill bit, all 3, halfway through the door. Don't drill all the way through the door. You've got to make sure the template is correct on both sides. If it was me, I would be using a square edge so that I knew that my template was being transferred properly to the other side. I would measure from the top of the door on both sides. I would measure the back set. I would do a reality check before I marked all of my holes, but don't drill through the door. Inevitably, that drill is going to be slightly off, especially when the drill bit hits the inside part of the storm door. It will certainly walk a little bit, forcing your drill out of alignment because you're not able to center punch that, obviously. So drill it from both sides. It says drilling the center spindle hole. Okay, drill all holes with a 5/16 drill bit. Use a slight side-to-side movement with your drill when drilling the center spindle hole in order to remount this opening. To me, that means drill it, you know, a 1/16 of an inch bigger. You can get away with that because, you know, this escutcheon will cover it, whether it's 5/16 or 3/8. I just drill it 3/8. And the reason they want that a little bit larger is that you'd want a small amount of movement, on the door, so that when you're tightening the screws, you can make sure that it's straight, plumb, flush, correct, that sort of stuff. So now you've done that from both sides. You've got 3 holes drilled in the door. They go all the way through. You're checking to make sure that they're all accurate as well. Installation instructions. Insert the square spindle with adapter, the big side, into the outside lever assembly. So that large square adapter is going to go right inside of here. And you can see at this point, you've got to determine if that lever is going to be this way or if it's going to be this way. Because that, you don't see it here, but that will transfer all the way to the back side of this lever. Let's test it. So this large portion is going to go all the way in there. And if you need it that way, great. If not, turn it over. There you go. So it's got that larger portion in there because underneath this piece of sheet metal are the springs that allow it to return back to vertical. Okay? Step 2, install the outside lever assembly on the door into the 3 pre-drilled holes. Install the inside latch deadbolt assembly onto the square spindle. So all that's going to communicate together. It's going to look like that. Okay. Step 3, install inside latch deadbolt assembly onto the end of the square spindle with the deadbolt in the down position as shown in the detail. So it will be indeed installed like this with the deadbolt down below. Using the 2 machine screws provided, which are the longer screws inside of here, the ones with the machine thread. That one, there's 2 of those. you're going to go through here and here into the tapped area here and here. Step 5, install the furnished tech machine screw into the lowest hole of the deadbolt and tighten. Note, this type of fastener does not require pre-drilling. It will cut the correct hole on the installation. So I'm going to put this down. There is exactly one screw in the package with a self-drilling point. Only one will have that self-drilling point there. Now, what they want you to do, and it came a little bit backwards from the factory, install it into what they want as the bottom hole. Well, from the factory, this screw came occupied in this place, so you're going to need to remove that screw and place it up here. Now, quite frankly, I can't see if that hole is tapped, so I'm going to test that right now. I'm going to remove this screw, because they're clearly saying the self-drilling tech screw should go here. Okay, well, the installation instructions are wrong. The bottom hole is tapped. I can see that there are threads inside of here. This hole is not. So you're going to install that tech screw into the upper hole. I'm going to reassemble this. You're going to be real careful when you're drilling that in. It's a self-drilling point. I'm not a fan of those types of screws at all because of how wobbly they are when you're trying to drill them. You're going to want to be extra cautious when you have your drill and that screw in hand. You're going to want to have command over all of it. Go very slow and let the drill point of that drill cut into what you're drilling into, probably aluminum or metal-clad door. And you don't want that screw to fail or cock over and then you ram your drill into the face of the door. Speaking from actual experience. Moving on to step 6, determine the proper location to install the die-cast strike on the door jamb so that the bolts will seat securely. That's real simple. That is just going to be eyeballing it. Okay, you're going to make sure that that is going to be installed per installation instructions as it's shown. Okay, this portion will be towards the pull side of the door. One screw here, right in the middle of that oval hole. You can margin it, test it, put in your permanent screws, like I said earlier. Now, regarding the handing, lower left-hand corner, lever set furnished as a right hand with deadbolt. Installed as shown. Installed in the down as shown. So it's just installed per the photo, per the line drawing. Prior to installing handle set, remove the fastener, rotating deadbolt to the escutcheon plate, should you need to. We discussed that, turning the deadbolt over. Rotate deadbolt 180 degrees, and then install. So, what they're saying is lever set furnished as a right hand with the deadbolt, installed in the down position. Lever set furnished as a left hand with deadbolt, installed in the up position. So, what they're saying is you can take this and turn it all over, I suppose. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need to do that because you can reverse this. I would always have it installed in the down position. I would rotate my deadbolt over should I need to. Again, shims, should you need them. Okay, this is just going to go underneath your mechanism should you need to build out the thickness of the door a little bit. You might have to do a little bit of trimming of this material, maybe not. Okay. There is an Allen wrench included if you needed to, for some reason, remove that lever assembly. Now on this deadbolt, there is no provision to unlock that from the outside. There's no provision for that. This is obviously made in such a way that this part, maybe in some other orientation, can be made to do that, because it's got a preparation for a lazy sort of tailpiece in there. But there is no way to unlock this from the outside, should it be locked from the inside. Okay. Very nice item. I wouldn't hesitate to use it, and I wouldn't hesitate to suggest that other people use it. If you have any questions on the Ultra Hardware 43552, Storm Door handle set, or any other Ultra Hardware product, please feel free to reach out to us.